Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee. Today is Tuesday, which means it is Outlander video day. So every single Tuesday I bring out a different Outlander related video to help all of us Outlander fans get through Droughtlander. Now, if you haven't watched Outlander at all, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic book series turned into a television show, which is just blown up and got the biggest fandom of dedicated, loving, loyal watchers I've ever seen. And so we have been slowly going back through the episodes, doing reviews and recaps of all the episodes starting from season 1. And today we're up to episode 4, which is The Gathering, one of my favourite episodes, which I probably say every review video, but this one, I love the little Easter eggs hidden in this episode in particular. So the basis of this episode is basically that Claire is plotting her escape from Castle Leoch and is going to try and head towards the stones. So during the start of the episode, we see her sort of planning out how far it is to the tree line and like what soldiers are around and things like that. And you see her tying ribbons on trees so she knows her way. There's also the loving, and well, to me they're loving, Angus and Rupert are there with their quims and their funny. I love Rupert and Angus. Their comments throughout every episode that they're in make me laugh all the time. I just absolutely love it. But like any good show, you sort of get the idea that there's so much effort and so much emphasis on Claire's escape being sort of set out at the start of this episode. You sort of know it's not going to happen just because of how much like time and effort goes into it. From someone that's watched a lot of TV shows, you did get that feeling that something's going to go terribly wrong here for Claire, and she's not going to make it. So that was probably the only disappointing thing about this episode, was that you kind of could see what was coming, but it was still a fantastic jump into the episode. Then we see Leary coming along, and I mean, this is not exactly in direct timeline of episode. These are just my favorite things about this episode. But Leary coming in, and you see her asking for a love potion, indicating she really does believe that Claire is a witch, or at least has some sort of power. She comes in and asks for the love potion in a real way. It's not in a way to get her into trouble. Claire, of course, just wants her to go away and basically makes up a fake potion to try and get Leary to go away. One of the Easter eggs about this moment, though, was when the Wizard of Oz is sort of given a hail to, and Claire gives Leary the magic potion and says, you know, you have to click your healers 3 times and say there's no place like love. There's no place like love. Or no, not there's no place like, there's nothing like love, or something like that. Then click into the Wizard of Oz. I thought that was fantastic. It's a nice little reference, not only that she's from the future, but also just I like little Easter eggs like that sort of bring in other areas of life into the show, if that makes sense. Very early on during the episode, though, we see a very dressed up, lovely looking Mrs. Fitz. So I do also love that. You get to see her sort of out of her kitchen attire. But then, one of my favourite things of the whole season, you get to see Diana Gabaldon featured in her world. Now, I have said on a previous video that if I had ever created, or if I'm ever able to create a world like Outlander, or a series, like a book series or anything, and then I was lucky enough for someone to come along and say, hey, I want to turn that into a movie or a TV show, one of the stipulations I would most certainly have is that I got a cameo. I would like to stand in the background. I don't care where or what. I just want to be able to say I have seen myself in the world that I created. These characters are all people that I thought of. They're all from my mind. These, you know, and I'm here in it, and it's real. It's literally, I'm looking around at all the characters I've created, the storyline I've created, and I just thought that was absolutely fantastic. I know it has happened in other things like Twilight. Stephenie Meyer comes into it at the wedding. So to have Diana Gabaldon there in this beautiful dress at the gathering, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it was a great tie-in for those that only have read the books and know who Diana Gabaldon is. It was fantastic because it's like, that's a little secret nod to the longevity fans instead of just the new ones that are coming along and be like, who is that? Who, go away. Like, are you going to be a character that I have to learn about? No, okay, whatever. But for the people that read the books and have been dedicated for a long time, it was a fantastic little throw-in. Loved it. Loved it. Then we see Dougal, who is a very drunken mess by this point in time. Now, Claire has already given her sedative to Angus and is on her escape plan. Now, she runs into Dougal, who's extremely drunk, but he does sort of come in a time where he's saving her from other drunken idiots. But his true colours sort of come into play where he's a bit of a brute, but not, and then gets hit on the head with a chair and she makes her get away. But drunken Dougal, yeah, you see he's definitely not fully evil, but he's also definitely not the nicest person in the room. We also get a bit of an explanation about Jamie and how he is, next in line for lead if he takes his oath. And that you sort of, as a first-time watcher, you definitely get more of an understanding of that awkwardness between Colm Dougal and Jamie and why he's sort of hiding out. I love that it's finally explained. It took 4 episodes to sort of get a bit of information about the family and the situation, so that was a good tie-in, and I really enjoyed the way it was sort of played out with Jamie doing his oath but not doing an oath. Watching the episode probably is easier. I don't know how to explain the oath very well, but I just think it was played out fantastically. Bringing it back to Dougal though, again, when they're out on the hunt and young Geordie sort of gets the boar to the body and the pig or whatever, he, gets gorged, you do see another side of Dougal that comes in and is very, very caring of his men. So you see him sort of trying to comfort Geordie. And I think it's sort of played back as well when Claire sort of shows how much she's also willing to care for Geordie, not only trying to heal him, or not trying to heal him, accepting that he wasn't going to survive, but giving him that comfort. I think Dougal seeing Claire do that, and also Claire seeing Dougal comfort Geordie, you do see that both of them are very much looking out for the men. And I think that gives a little bit more leeway in their relationship of, well, she's a spy, he's a brute. It definitely, in my eyes, made it look like, they both do, well, Claire obviously does, but Dougal has a very caring side to his men. And it really, at the time, it plays back to, is he an evil guy or is he... You still don't really know what's going on with Dougal, and if he's going to be an evil villain or if he's just misunderstood. Dougal has a lot going on in this episode, and as one of my, Graham McTavish, I love him to death. Watching him portray Dougal, especially in this episode, was fantastic. The complex character of Galis just really comes into play in this episode too. Obviously, we see her asking Claire lots of questions about her previous husband, if he was actually dead, if he's living, things like this. And the way she's structuring her questions, you can tell Galis knows something or she suspects something. Again, while you're watching it though, you don't know if it's because she's a friend or a foe, or if she's really a witch, or what her ultimate play is. At that point in the season, you still most certainly don't know that she's going to play such a big role later on. And you're still in a mindset of, is she going to be Claire's friend or is she evil? You don't know. I personally wanted to love Galis from day one because she's just an amazing character, so complex, and the fact that you just can't tell and you don't know if you instantly like her or you instantly don't like her, that's the sort of character that I love in a show. You can either love them or hate them, and you're on the fence. So even if she became a villain and you have these feelings of, well, she's just so cool, you can't really dislike them, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody else kind of does that with characters in shows. For example, totally off topic, but The Walking Dead and Negan, the character of Negan, even though he is evil to the core when we first meet him, I love Negan, and I cannot, at this point in time while watching The Walking Dead, dislike Negan, even though I know he's done such horrific things. I love Negan. And Galus at this point in time was very similar to that. I just had these big suspicions about Galus, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like you, but you're being really nice. And then later on in the episodes or show, we know more about Galus. And even then I was like, oh, well, I see your point. But I just love the complexity of Galus. Towards the end of the episode, as we watch Claire and some of the clan leaving on their horses to head off to collect the rents and things like that, Claire's coat, just, I love it. The costuming in Outlander, I love. I mean, I've said that 1,000 times throughout different episodes for the channel here, but Claire's coat, I had to go and purchase one myself when Torrid did the release, the Outlander collection release, which one day I think I'll need to do the coats and the clothing that I have collected from Torrid's Outlander collection for a haul video. I wish I was doing such Outlander dedicated videos when that collection came out, because I went nuts. There are a few coats that I missed out, and now I have paid just top dollar for them because of the quality of them, and I love them. But anyway, back to the point. Claire's coat in the episode, the one with the beautiful white fur around the hood and the cuffs, I just absolutely love it. And then later on when we see Bree, oh, I love that coat. But when you see her riding out, I just thought to myself, that costume deserves a mention in this episode simply because of how much I personally love it. Just A-class costuming in this entire show, no matter if they're a sort of extra in the background or if they're a main character, the costuming is just spectacular. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm really enjoying doing the Outlander recap episodes, and I know they're not as in-depth as a lot of some of the other channels that I've seen doing them are, but I hope you're enjoying our Outlander content as we bring it out each week. I'd love to know also, what was your favourite part of the episode, The Gathering, and are you currently doing the reread along in preparation for Bees coming out in just a couple of months? That's going to be here any moment now. I know I personally have been doing the audiobook reread along, and I'm now currently back up to Written in My Own Heart's Blood. And I don't know why, but I forgot some of the amazing details in that book, and it's blowing my mind, little things that I've even picking up now. But are you doing a reread along or a rewatch along, and are you getting ready for Bees? That is just, yeah, that's going to be a massive month when Bees come out. We'll have to do lots of content about that next book. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos that I bring out each week. Please remember to hit that subscribe button if you have not already, as it really does help the channel grow. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday for another Outlander video. Bye, guys.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone.